So if you love these Cub Cadets as much as I do, you might be wondering why we have this beautiful 1810 all torn apart. So there's a lot of parts here. You can look around a little bit. We'll talk about it. This is an 1810 I bought 3 or 4 weeks ago at an auction. And I guess they drug it out of a farmer's barn. It was very, very greasy and non-running. So we'll hit it from the top. If you want to restore or bring one of these old tractors back to life, there's a handful of steps to follow, and it's not really particularly difficult. Not nearly as difficult as it looks, really, with the engine all torn out and all of the work that we're doing. Um, so one of the things straight off the top is to check the fuel. Check the fuel, make sure there's fuel coming. So what we did first of all is get a jump pack on it or a good battery, fresh battery. Give it a crank, make sure that it cranks, that it starts. That it cranks at least. And then we grabbed a can of ether, took the air cleaner off, gave it a snort of ether, kind of sprayed it, kept it running, got a little heat in the engine, or at least in the exhaust. I guess check the oil first. I'm not sure if we did that or not, but we got it running. We could tell that it runs okay. The muffler was good. The drive shaft was still hooked up. No rattles, no bad noises. So the next thing we discovered is all the fuel lines were hard and dry. Put a little fuel in the tank and the petcock started leaking. So that gave us an idea where to start. So we ordered up a list of parts. All of that's in a box here. I got a new battery at the hardware store. I got some fuel line, 1/4 inch. So we got a maintenance kit that comes with the oil filter, air filter. The air filter's down there. The gas tank cap was all cracked. Oh yeah, that kit comes with some Champion plugs. Champion used to be a good brand, but I wouldn't recommend them anymore. What we have in here is the little rubber plug in the bottom of the tank, and then this fuel petcock pushes up through this rubber bung and seals the hole in the tank. Since everything was so greasy, we started by pressure washing. The hood actually fell off. One of these bracket guys is loose, so that came unhooked and fell off. So we got the grill out, the screens. Just went through and pressure washed everything. We took the tank out. That was all greasy, so that got all washed. Everything got washed. And we started washing inside the engine bay and everywhere like that. So the reason that the headlight screen is out is actually for 2 reasons. The screen right there is a little bit bent. Some people must have hit it over the years. And the other reason was the exhaust was just welded on. So the exhaust sticks out the front here, so when we raise it up, it got snagged in the headlights. So I just took those couple little screws out. As we dug into it, we progressed. The skid loader operator bent our steering over there. We'll get around to that. So the front end needs adjustment. The steering gear boxes on these always need adjustment. Usually I'll pick the front end up like this. We'll go in. This one here is a bolt. The earlier ones use a pin. So it's a good idea to replace the pin with a bolt. So there's a 149 over here. The oil pan on that Kohler cast iron motor actually drops down here, and it doesn't allow a lot of space. So what happens with the pin is, over the years of hitting things, the pressure, if you hit something on front of the tire here, the pressure actually spreads this C-shaped channel apart, and then the whole axle just clunks back and forth, and it really makes you can't steer all the way left or right because of the play. So this was either updated. I don't think it was. I bet this is factory. So on the 149, I've shaved the bolt head down with a grinder before and put the nut front here. That's actually out of the way of the mule drive for the motor deck and all of that stuff. So that'll work. Just keep that in mind when you do that. That's a very nice upgrade. You can draw this C-shaped channel together. There's no play in this guy anymore. I pulled it tight till it's slightly stiff. That'll loosen up over time. And you always want to check these. This is a wear item. They get hard, brittle, and cracked. Excuse me, I just ate. They'll fly apart eventually. So, and in this gearbox, you should see this. Here, I've got this much play back and forth, which is let's move around to the other side here. I'll show you the pin. There's an adjustment in there that you can do. If you have a bench grinder and a drill, see this gap here? So, see, you can see the bolt head over here. This is a bolt, and it basically draws this plate over against the gearbox. So that's a shim that you can use to take up some adjustment. And then let me see if I can, there we go. There's a bolt. This is actually a little threaded pin with a bullet shaped nose, and there's a set knot that goes in, that just pokes inside and engages in a little spiral worm gear. And over the years, the sides of the pin wear flat, and that's where you get all this play. So what you can do is, if you turn this pin 180 degrees, you'll get a fresh side, and you'll be able to take some slack out. So basically, if you screw the pin too far in, it'll bottom out in the groove and bind. So the other option is to take this pin out, chuck it in your drill, and then just regrind the end back into the original shape. And then you can run it until it bottoms, and then back it out, quarter turn, half turn. And this, if you over tighten this bolt here, it'll make the steering really stiff. So you kind of want to give it a squeeze to where it's comfortable, where you're happy with it, where it's not too stiff and not too loose. And then you take this pin, you run that all the way in until it bottoms, and then back out half a quarter turn, and that'll put your steering back into adjustment. Here's a grease nipple. Get that greased, and then around to the front. Yeah, here's the bent drag link, so I'll have to take that out and beat it straight again. And up front here, I noticed they've got an update that they stole directly from John Deere. So to keep this axle from flopping back and forth as much, they took some bolt heads, and on these I just loosened the lock nut, put a wrench in here, turned it till it hit, and then backed off slightly, and then set the set nut. Getting out of breath here. So I believe there's a grease nipple somewhere for maybe the back side. Maybe if you swing your axle all the way to one side, you can find that. Go in there and make sure it's greased. Let me see if I can feel it with my finger. Oh yeah, it's on this side. Sorry. It's on this side on the back, nestled right in the curve there. And then this would be the heavy duty 1-inch spindle, and here's a grease nipple over here. And of course on the other side. You want to make sure that these bolts are rotating with the spindle. If they're not rotating with the spindle, that means that the spindle itself is wearing on the bolt. You can replace these. They do tend to get pretty worn. You probably don't need the cotter pin. You could just use a lock nut for those. I have one tractor that doesn't even have a nut. That really needs to have it re-drilled and ground. Somebody on the Cub Cadet Facebook page mentioned that there's a sleeve in between here, and then the spindle clamps on the sleeve, and the sleeve rotates inside the axle housing. So I guess these bolts should be fairly tight, just snug right down tight. As far as pulling the engine, why did we pull the engine? Well, we found out the hard way. We started taking the tins off and finding more and more mouse nests, oil and grease in there. Even the starter's loose. The actual engine, bolts to this big plate. This big plate here. So one of these bolts is missing. Yeah, missing. So it's way easier. There's actually 6 bolts. My son was helping me take these off. So there's one here, here, and here. So there's three on either side. They're identical on either side. So one of the bolts is in here inside the channel. Yeah, right here. And then one here and one farther back. And then you have these 2 bolts for the drive shaft. You have the starter wire. You have a ground. This is on the engine tins. Pretty easy to see. This melted 3-pin. This is for the charging system. I don't recall where this guy came from, but it's 2 big wires, 1 connector plug, 6 engine plate bolts, 2 drive shaft bolts, and if you got the fuel tank out, the fuel tank is held in with this little clip. So it all comes out really easy. It's way easier to pull the whole engine. And then we'll find a table of some kind and we'll set this engine on here and we'll reassemble all the engine tins. There's one big engine tin. Oh yeah, the engine oil filter can come out. Just undo the hoses and all that comes out. You might have to take this big exhaust shroud off in order to lift the motor out. Maybe not actually. So yeah, it's as simple as pressure washing everything, getting the engine kit, fresh fuel lines, spark plugs. I need a fresh fuel pump that I'm still waiting on. Some crazy scammer on eBay shipped it to Long Island, or no, the other island, New York City. So that was about $175 worth of parts to get this, plus a battery, to just get this whole machine back in service. And I don't have a motor deck with it. The kids want to have it for their machine, so I guess that's what we'll do. So I still need to grease the steering, straighten out the drag link there, reassemble all the engine tins, make sure you don't lose your screws. But it should be pretty fun and easy to just reassemble all the tins on a... I was thinking maybe that chair right there, if it's not too dangerous. So very easy really to pull these engines and do all of that and reassemble everything, and that'll give me an opportunity to spray a little bit of paint on whatever items that maybe the factory missed, or you just need a little refresh, like that screen. The screens are particularly hard to keep paint on. So yeah, this it's a very fun and enjoyable process. It would have taken us about a day to just strip this down, and maybe another day to prep everything to go back in, and that allows us to change the fuel pump. So not really a big project. These are beautiful, rugged little tractors. They definitely don't make these anymore. I suppose you could check hydro oil. Let's see if I can dip my camera down here. There's a transmission cover. You can pull that whole cover off of there. That might not even have a gasket, and that might just be sealed on with silicone. And that'll drain the transmission oil. And then there's a filter up here. Oh, I can see where the fork operator struck my filter, so you can change all of that. Oh my. Oh, it looks like my drive shaft, my fan is hitting, but I think if we raise this up, it won't hit anymore. There's also, this is called a rag joint, so if you're looking this up on eBay or whatever, Cub Cadet rag joint. There's also one in the way back where the fan is. Eventually they updated these and put a CV style joint in there, so some people do that as an upgrade to get away from the flailing rag joints. Alrighty guys, well that's really it. it's fun and therapeutic, and might even find the sticker for that. I really enjoy this. It's relaxing and something you can do with your kids or grandkids, and save a tractor and give them something to remember, you know, to treasure for a lifetime. Thanks guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.